ASU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Georgetown Austin Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me is Coach Joe Austin, head coach of the Southwestern University Pirates. How are you, Coach?
Good.
We've had some difficulties here this evening, but we're getting the show underway. We have an extended version of the show tonight. We're going to have our traditional segment where we talk about the last game, and we'll have the final segment where we talk about the upcoming game with you. And in between, we'll have the traditional couple of players, outstanding players from the last game. But we're also going to talk to a couple of All-American tennis players as well. So that's they brought their fans with them, it sounds like.
Cool.
So, but let's go on ahead and start out, Coach, with the highlights from the Howard Payne game. Hold on one second, I'll get those pulled up. At the running back position, they'll hand to Marion straight ahead. He'll pick up the first down, spins his way over the 45-50 to the 45 and out of bounds at around the 40-yard line of the Yellow Jackets as Jaquan Marion comes in, gives a little spark. Long field goal here. This is going to be a 51-yard field goal for – they fake it. Oh, no, they just shift their formation.
Swinging gate.
Gilpin alone. Gilpin moves to his right. He's got enough speed to pick up the first down over the 30, and they'll corral him out of bounds right at the 26-yard line. First down, Pirates, and that's something they probably worked on this week. Gomez will pitch it to Castilleja on the jet sweep. He'll cut up around the 40, break a tackle, dive beyond the 35. McKinney moves to his right, drops back, flips it out of bounds as he knew too much pressure from the Pirates. On the right side of the formation, there's a snap with a counterplay to Bradley. He squeezes his way beyond the line of scrimmage, but only for about a yard as Blaine Corkin is there to make sure that that's a minimal gain of 2 yards. One of the strengths of the Pirates defense. They're showing up today, and there's a handoff to Bradley, and Bernard Century fills the hole quickly. No real gain on the play, maybe a half a yard, second down. With McKinney, there's a snap, Bradley straight ahead, and the defensive line shows up, but Blaine Corkin going to get credit for the tackle. Stephen Willis now the running back for the Yellow Jackets. He gets the handoff, and Bernard Century in there to drop him at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Marion the running back, 9:44 remaining in the half. Gilpin takes the snap, rolls to his right. Plenty of time, finds an open Austin Castilleja. He stiff arms at the 50, he's at the 45-40, and he's going to be forced out of bounds at the 30-yard line. A segue the running back beside Gilpin. Gilpin takes the snap, rolls to his right. Has to dodge a defender. Flips it out to a receiver. That's Ethan Powell for a first down. Willis, the running back. There's a snap. They fake to Willis. McKinney looking to throw. Has plenty of time. Throws it over the middle. It's intercepted by number 11 of the Pirates. That's Peyton Ludeman, and he'll carry it all the way inside the 20. They're going to mark the ball at the 18-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Southwestern. Bit of his air in his lungs. Marion, the running back. They'll bring a man in motion. They'll hand it to him, and it's flipped back to Gilpin. He's down to the 10-yard line, spun out of bounds at the 9, make it the 8. Holman Kerr, the holder, waiting on that snap. There it is. Up is the kick, and it is good from Will Earps. Gilpin with Taisigi in the backfield. Check that. That's Brandon Jennings he follows in the hole, and he cuts it to the outside. He's at the 30, 35, 40, and he'll carry it up near the 45 for a first down. Good opening play to this drive. Two receivers either side of the formation. Gilpin takes the snap, hands to Marion. He breaks it out to the outside midfield, and he'll step out of bounds. 3rd and short. Gilpin with Marion to the right. Takes the snap, moves that direction, flips it out to Marion. Marion is able to pick up the first down. He had a couple of defenders try to grab him, but he was able to lunge his way forward outside for a first down, Pirate. There's the snap. He'll move to the right, flip it out to Jennings. Jennings cuts up at the 30 and spins his way down to about the 26-yard line. Pirates in a spread with Marion in the backfield. There's the snap. They'll hand to Marion on the right side. He'll cut his way up over the 25, and he looks like he may have enough for the first down. Really going to depend on the spot. Looks like Jennings remains the running back with Gilpin. There's the snap. Gilpin drops straight back, moves to his left a little, throws it deep downfield as Costilleja for a touchdown, Pirates! Perfectly laid in throw from Landry Gilpin. Costilleja had a step on the defender, and the Pirates have a touchdown. Dropped it in the bucket, as they say. 9:52 remaining. The point after is up and good from Will Herbst. Takes and hands to Bradley straight ahead, and Bernard Century's there along with a whole crew of Pirates. Marion, the running back. Gilpin takes the snap, drops straight back, rolls to his left, looking downfield, lots of pressure. Pass is complete to Dugan Sexton right on the sideline. Great play. Way to keep looking downfield if you're Landry Gilpin for that open receiver. Had a lot of pressure coming his way. Bit of a pro set, two receivers to the left side of the formation. That could have been a motion penalty. McKinney drops back. He has to run the ball. He's going to be stopped at the 39, make it the 40-yard line. Two receivers either side of the formation. They'll fake to Willis, drop straight back. McKinney flushed out to his right. Looking downfield, he'll air it out, and it's dropped. Pirate football. There defensively for Southwestern is Peyton Vaughn. Gilpin takes the snap, looks to throw, and runs straight ahead midfield, cuts out at the 45, 40, 35. Be forced out of bounds around the 29-yard line. Gilpin and Jennings in the backfield. There's the snap. They'll fake to Jennings, and Gilpin will carry straight ahead, and he squirts out. Spins his way down near the 20. They're going to stop him at the 21-yard line. Additional spread formation for the Pirates. Gilpin takes the snap, drops straight back, looking downfield, whips it down to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Pirates! Austin Costilleja cut right where the ball was delivered for a touchdown, and not only a touchdown, but the lead. 12:43 and counting. McKinney flips it into the flat to Parker, and he's going to be tackled quickly by number 7, Peyton Vaughn, who's having a pretty good ball game there in the secondary for the Pirates. He'll fake to Bradley, looking to throw. He's flushed forward in the pocket. He's going to have to run. He's tackled quickly, no gain. Number 94 there, getting the stop, Jason Lund. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm joined here by Coach Joe Austin. Coach, let's talk about the game a little bit. Howard Payne, high-powered offense, came in to Georgetown this week, and, the defense really showed up. Talk about your defense's performance this week against that potent offense.
It was a great performance. They came in averaging 50-some points a game and over 600 yards, by far the top offense in the country. And to put that up in our conference is amazing. I mean, if they were playing in the UMAC or the whatever else, every game they'd score 100 points. And they're putting up 70 points in a lot of games in our conference. They were really good. And our players stepped up. Our defensive preparation was awesome. They really knew the game plan well. And Bill Kriesel, our defense coordinator, had a great plan to change things up and be really multiple with what we did. We gave them several different coverages. We gave them several different blitzes. And I think it kept Howard Payne's offense on their toes, and they never really had a chance to get comfortable.
Go ahead, Coach.
And I think that was a key to what we did. We kept their quarterback guessing. We brought pressure from different places, and we stopped their big plays. A big part of their offense is throwing it downfield as far as they can because they typically have time to do that, to drop back and let their really fast athletes run and outrun your defenders. And we didn't give them a chance to do that. We gave up very few downfield plays, and as you saw, and it didn't even show all of them in the highlights, we had well over 12 negative plays that we created with tackle for losses and interceptions and forcing them into penalties. So a really good performance. You couldn't ask for much more. That's about as well as probably anybody's going to do all year long against that team.
Well, now offensively, they had a little bit of a rough start, especially in the first half. But the offense ended with 331 yards total offense, and really one series away from a win. Give us your thoughts on the offensive performance.
We're moving in the right direction offensively in that we're moving the ball downfield a lot more. There's 3 games now that we've outgained the opponent, but we're still going backwards too much. Negative plays where we lose yards or we get a penalty. But I think things are coming along. We started 6 freshmen on offense. We haven't done that since 2014. So we are young. That's not an excuse, but you're going to have more mistakes. We've been starting 3 freshmen on the offensive line, 2 wide receivers and a running back, and several more are playing throughout the game. So I think the more they play, the better they're going to do. But the emphasis that I gave them yesterday was we have to stop going backwards. We have to stop having negative plays, penalties, because the chunks are, again, we saw in the highlights, the chunks are starting to come. The running game is really picking up, but we stop ourselves. For example, we had the lead in the fourth quarter. The defense got us the ball at about the 50-yard line, made them punt into the wind, and it ended up being 4th and 51. I've never seen that in 23 years.
That has to be a record.
Well, I hope not. That's not the record you want to have. But it's like, come on, guys. You can't go from having the 50-yard line, a chance to extend the lead, to 4th and 51. But that's where we're at with 6 freshmen that are starting. Again, I'm not just giving them an out. We have said, let's get going. Because the good plays are coming. Now let's be more consistent with it. But they do have to practice better. We had a really poor practice on Thursday, unfortunately. So we're wasting opportunities. I shouldn't say wasting. We're not maximizing opportunities on offense in practice yet. I think it is a lot because of our youth. We're on defense. We had one, I think, Andre Gibson played a lot at corner. That's the only freshman that played on our defense. We've got a lot of good experience. We're juniors and seniors in the secondary. We're sophomores through seniors at the linebacker. We've got 3 seniors on our defensive line. So it's a little bit of a different vibe there. They really know what they're doing. So our offense needs to complement our defense now. Our defense gave us every opportunity to win that game. And I'm not trying to put it all on our offense, but you were there, like you said. There were opportunities to extend the lead and put the game away, and we didn't do it, so we'll keep working.
One of those opportunities to extend the lead occurred on special teams. But other than that miss on the field goal, it was a pretty good day for special teams from my perspective. 1 or 2 on field goals, 2 punts that pinned the Howard Payne offense deep in their end of the field. Talk about that as well.
Our coverage teams have been really good all year. Our punt team is really fantastic. I love the players that we have on our kickoff team. You just know that they're going to do things really correctly. We did have a freshman make one mistake on a kickoff cover. He was subbed in. Austin Castellea was really busy. He just scored a touchdown. He needed a break on the next kickoff. And we had one freshman that wasn't there, and they got a long kick return to about the 50-yard line. But another freshman, Aiden O'Connell, folded over and made a great open field tackle that might have saved a touchdown.
Right.
So I really do like our coverage units. They've been really awesome all year. So I think we're doing great there. Some games we've returned the ball well on kickoff returns. This one was an okay game. We've had better, but I think our special teams have overall performed well. We had the fake field goal. We've had several fake punts. So we're doing some fun things on special teams. And as I said, the guys that we use on special teams, they like doing it. Some teams have a culture of, why would I have to do that? The guys that cover our kickoffs, they love it. The guys that cover our punts, they love it. I think that's an awesome thing about our football team.
I really think it's a place that you can shine and make a name for yourself, especially as a younger player, underclassman. If you get an opportunity, you can really make a splash there.
Well, yeah, but it's all earned. I mean, we do have some freshmen playing on our special teams because they've earned that. And our culture, and I always say, watch an Alabama game. The guys that are going to get drafted in the first round go cover kickoffs.
Right.
We're going to put the best players that we have out there. It's always great when you do have young players that can be in the mix and do those things. Austin Potetz and Aiden O'Connell, for example, are freshmen that are on our first kickoff team. We're a lot more veteran on our punt team, but it is great when you have young guys that can step up and earn time and earn opportunities on those units.
It'll pay for them going forward.
That's right.
In their experience.
But you got to trust the guys on your punt team. And so Will knows he's got a lot of guys that are really good at it and have had a lot of repetitions. We're all, let me think about quick. Yeah, we're all juniors and seniors on our punt team. So they know what they're doing, and they do a really good job.
Well, it was a big crowd on Saturday. Lots of pregame festivities I noticed when I drove up with the equipment to set up. Talk about the importance of a supportive crowd, both home and away, which we'll need in Abilene this weekend.
Well, I think the players really feed off that and like it. And it was great to have tailgating back, and it was great to have some of the energy and ambiance at the stadium that we've been missing for quite a while. People kept telling me it was a really good crowd. They were all active. I don't even look up. I've got the double earphone headset. I don't hear anybody. I don't see anything. I don't look at anything. But I know our players really like it, and they don't have to have the mentality that I do. You know, they've got the open helmets where they can hear everything. And as a player, I was the same way. You always want to have a positive environment. And we have great community support, and we've done a good job, I think, trying to rebuild our fan support after being gone for almost 2 years. So I just want to thank everybody in our community and all the parents and Southwestern students and folks that came to watch us.
Well, they bring a lot of energy and the momentum. You can really feel it when that energy is excited there in the crowd. So
take your word for it.
Yeah, you can tell.
I just got my headphones on.
So we'll take a quick break, Coach, and then we'll be right back and talk to a couple of All-American tennis players for Southwestern University, Emma Ketterson and Allie Zyme. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We'll talk to them shortly, and I'll find out. Stay tuned here on SU Football Weekly with Coach Joe Austin, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. I'm joined by a couple of All-Americans, tennis players for the Southwestern Pirates. Give them a hand. Okay, which one are you, Emma or Allie?
I'm Allie.
You're Allie. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
You did not.
What is it?
It's Zeem.
Zeem.
It was close enough. No one ever gets it right.
It's
so.
better when it's phonetic for me. So
yeah.
And you are Emma Kesterson, correct?
Yes.
Now, Allie, we'll start with you since you're closer. You've been captain of the tennis team for a few years.
I have been.
How does that feel to be in a leadership position? You're a junior and you've been a captain for 3 years, so that's every year.
It is every year somehow. It's just really rewarding. I feel like I do a lot behind the scenes, and it just feels really good to see something come from it on the tennis court.
Now, talk about that coming from the tennis court. Both of you were responsible for beating the team to beat either in regular season or in the postseason tournament is what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You guys were responsible for beating Trinity?
Oh, we were not. That was Nina and Lydia.
Oh, I guess I read
Oh, wait,
the
in the spring?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that was us.
Okay,
Sorry.
I thought I had gotten wrong information.
No, you were right.
Okay, talk about that experience when you're going up against the powerhouse of the conference and the team scores on the line and you're up there and you're taking on their best.
I was very nervous in that match. You know. It was really hard to stay calm and just pull through in the end. It was just a tough but really rewarding experience in the end whenever we pulled it through.
Is that something you're going to tell your grandkids about?
For sure.
For sure. Now, I understand you did a similar thing. The score was tied against Trinity, and it was you versus one of the Trinity players, and you came out on top. Talk about that.
So I get really bad nerves on the court. So as soon as I saw it came down to me, I was like extremely nervous. But having all my teammates on the court next to me just really helped. They're all so supportive and positive. I think that's really what had the most impact on like me being able to perform well.
So do you find that you're able to focus better under that kind of pressure?
I think that in that particular situation, I was able to kind of like focus then just because I felt like there was pressure, but then also having everyone out there support me was really helpful.
So tennis is a team sport, but it's kind of an individual sport as well. So both of those experiences came in singles, but you're scoring overall for your team in a competition.
Mm-hmm.
So explain that a little bit for the non-tennis fans.
It's definitely strange, especially going from juniors to college, because you spend years just playing for yourself, and then going into a team aspect is different, but I personally love it. I mean, it's so much easier to go out there when you have so many people who love you and support you and just want to see you succeed.
Well, and you get that in high school from parents and friends of parents and teachers, but you go off to university and you're new to the school. You may know the coach, maybe a player or two, but you've got to build those relationships. Talk about that a little bit.
It's definitely a hard transition coming from high school to college and all of a sudden being a part of a team, and your match could be the one that wins it or loses it in the biggest moments, and it's really hard to settle down and just do well in those moments. And sometimes you do good and sometimes you do bad, but you just have to push through and keep going and just enjoy it overall. So.
And they're all learning experiences,
for
losses
sure.
and wins. So you guys both also team up, correct? So you not only play singles, but you play doubles together as well. Talk about that experience and the success that you've had as a doubles team.
I think one of the big contributing factors to why we play so well together is off court, we're best friends. Like, we get along so well, and I think that shows on the court as well, because we know how to pick each other up when we're not doing well, and like how to support each other and just how to be there for each other on the court.
So you're best friends. Do you all have the same major?
No.
No, not even close?
Well, we started out having the same major, and then I did not enjoy the major and switched to something easier.
And what was pre-med?
Yeah.
That's you?
Good guess. Yep.
Okay. And what did you switch to?
Communications.
That's a good one, but there's a lot of problems from time to time.
It's true.
You look pretty comfortable up here, though.
Hopefully.
Do you plan on reading the news one day?
Maybe. Sports broadcasting is my goal, so we'll
Awesome.
see.
You could work for ESPN. That would be good.
I would love that.
Okay. Tell us about what's left of tennis this year and what y'all expect from your team. Understand y'all are highly ranked. Talk about it.
We are highly ranked.
That's something to be proud of.
It is for sure. I'm so proud of everyone on our team. I think one thing that we do really well is work extremely hard in the off season, and that's what we're getting into right now. So I'm excited to get into that with the ladies, and we're starting up weight training. So hopefully.
And this is your team over here?
This is, yes. These
That's
are our
great.
ladies.
They all came out to
They
support
did.
you. Now, tennis is a tough sport. A lot of people don't give it credit, right? There they are. But tennis, it's a tough sport. I mean, there's a lot of conditioning that goes in it. And you talk about how how hard you work in the off season. Is there a lot of running sprints that you do? Do you have to lift weights? I mean, how does that go? Or you just play tennis and just keep playing tennis?
There's a good amount of running.
Well, I know there is in the sport because I've tried it before, and there's a lot of skill as well. I mean, if you talk to certain people, they'll tell you that the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a major league pitch. But I think it's pretty hard to hit some of those tennis balls that are coming over 80 miles an hour at you. Talk about that
Right,
experience a little bit. You ever been hit with one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She got hit with one at our ITA, and it was my fault. I threw up a lob, and then the other girl hit the overhead right at her. And, yeah, she got a big bruise from it.
Yeah, it'll leave a mark. It's coming pretty fast. Okay, now let's talk about the other part of your experience at Southwestern University. It's obviously not all athletics, so you have to focus. We talked just briefly, pre-med, communications. Talk about your experience at school and how important it is.
School is extremely important for me. That's one of the main reasons why I came to Southwestern is I wanted a good balance of competitive tennis and strong academics, and it has been challenging, but I think especially the STEM department here really pushes you so you're prepared for what's to come in the future. So, I mean, academically, it has been hard, but it's been good for me.
Have you received any interest? Your pre-med, obviously, Southwestern is only a 4-year institution, so they don't have any postgraduate programs. Have you received any interest from schools?
I'm only a junior, so I don't start applying till next semester. So, yeah, I'm having to do the MCAT stuff right now, and once I get that going, hopefully some schools will reach out to me.
Do you have any in mind that you would like to attend?
My dad went to UT Southwestern, so that's where I really want to go.
That's in Houston, right?
Dallas.
Dallas.
So that's my dream, but we'll see.
And you?
Let's see. Sports broadcasting is the goal, but I honestly have no idea what I actually want to do. We'll kind of just see where the wind takes me. Communications has been pretty easy, challenging at times so far, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with me. I feel like she's got her life together, and I just don't know what I'm doing. So.
Well, some of us are much older, and we're still trying to figure it out, so don't worry about that. Now, there are opportunities from time to time to do broadcasting for your university. Would you be interested in doing something like that?
100%. I would love to do that.
I'll let the folks know at SHN and see if you might be able to do some coverage for us.
Thank you.
You wouldn't happen to be in Abilene this weekend, would you?
Certainly not. Certainly not.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you coming on the show. We're really proud of you guys for being All-American, and it is awesome to meet you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Stay tuned. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me now is junior safety. You're a junior, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Peyton Ludeman. Everybody welcome Peyton.
Thank y'all.
Okay, Peyton, I'm just going to jump right in here. You're tied for first in total tackles on the team, according to the statistician for the school. You have 38. And you're also first in solo tackles with 17. That's part of that 38. That's a lot of production from a safety, and safeties make a lot of tackles, obviously. Talk about your role in supporting the run on the defense.
You know, my favorite games are actually the games where I don't have to make very many tackles. You know, that means that, you know, the up front, you know, we're doing a really good job with like Noah Clarkson and Nick Hackett and all the linebackers doing a great job of filling in the run and, you know, getting there before me. And, you know, this past game, they did a really great job of that. And I think that's a huge part of what's making us so productive last week, you know.
So obviously you like the pass game a little better defensively. Talk about your role as a safety in that game.
You know, really my role is just to stay deep and hopefully not let anything big happen. And it's always easier when I know that I have those guys up front who are putting pressure on the quarterback and making my job easier, making him have to run around and getting after him so he doesn't have time to throw the ball. Then I don't have to do too much.
Well, in that role, you got yourself an interception, and it really sparked the offense, and it started the scoring, which allowed Southwestern to eventually take the lead in the third quarter. Talk about that, because that came right at you.
Well, I'm just fortunate. I mean, we had a blitz on that play, I believe, and just it was very fortunate that our D-line, our linebackers, everyone got back there. The receiver tried to jump and try to go more vertical, which just opened up a lane for me to run down and, you know, hold on to the ball at the end and try not to give it back to them. So that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, oh, I better catch this one. You know, it's coming right at you. It would be pretty sad to drop that one.
Well, I've seen it happen, you know, and not just at, you know, Southwestern games, but all the way up to the NFL, you know, it does happen. So it has to be caught before it could be returned,
Yes,
obviously.
sir.
So talk about your defense as a whole, all of your teammates. I know I'll get an offensive guy up here, and I'll ask to talk about the offense, and they always want to talk about the team as a whole. And I know that's kind of a theme, and, you know, because you are one family. But let's focus on the defense. Talk about your defensive teammates.
You know, we have a lot of great experience in defense right now with young players and old players. A lot of us core guys that are on the field all the time. With last year getting a lot of great experience with some of the young guys, and now this year we're really gelling together and meshing together to, we had one of our best performances this past week, and I think that
so.
that shows with our kind of our chemistry that we're getting right now with our linebackers, our D-line, and our DBs. We're all just kind of figuring it out at the moment. So.
Well, and as a defensive back, you're really out there. You're not generally in a mix of a bunch of bodies where you can be hidden if you make a mistake, right? Those mistakes are magnified. Talk about that as an experience.
You got to have a short memory as a defensive back because, you might mess up one play, then a couple plays later be able to have the opportunity to make a big play. And if you're thinking about those plays that are negative or that you messed up on, then you might not be able to make that big play that you need to make at that time. So you really got to have a short memory and just be able to keep going and keep playing. It's a long game. You can't focus on the little things,
Well, sometimes you have to, but you can't dwell on them, especially if you made a mistake. So your picture's on the website from this past game. I don't know if you knew that.
No, sir, I did not.
Well, the point is, talk about life as a student athlete at SU, because it's different than a traditional student, obviously.
Yes, sir. As a student athlete, a lot of people's days are just packed. You got classes. Tomorrow's my big class day. I have 4 classes in a row, starting at like 10 o'clock and ending at about 3:50, and then I got meetings at 4:10. So really, you got to be on top of it and be able to know when your study times are and when your football time is and when your class time is, and be able to just stay on schedule and get your work done and take care of business.
Well, and a lot of students find that they can have a little bit of free time to play video games or whatever. It's not as easy for you guys.
Oh, no, definitely not. I live with a couple guys, and everyone's always studying, and everybody's always, using their resources, helping each other out with studying together, working on projects, and there's a constant, it's kind of a grind alongside football just to get through the classes and succeed as student athletes. We are student athletes, so we come here for the education.
Yeah,
and the great
student
education
is first.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's really preparing you for your adult life, whether you know it or not.
Yes,
I would
sir.
love to start my day at 10 and finish at 4:10.
Oh, sure. I take it for granted a little bit.
Well, let's talk about your major now. What is your major, and what are your plans?
I'm a business major in exercise and sports studies minor. So I actually plan to become a football coach after my 4, maybe 5 years here. Hopefully not 5. Maybe. Yes, sir.
Getting a lot of applause for that
Yes,
5th
sir.
year.
I'm going to try to figure out how can I get that extra semester and do one more season. So
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. And, whether you know it or not, at some point in your life, football, as a player, it ends. And many of us, I'm an example, don't realize that these are your last games. And while you may have another year or two, football's a rough sport. It might not happen. So how important is it for you to enjoy these moments?
it's extremely important because, like you said, you never know when that one play is going to be your last play. So, that's partially why I want to be a football coach, because I've been playing football all my life and I just love the sport. So I want to take the opportunity to continue what I love to do in some aspect and give coaching a shot.
I find that commendable, and one of the things that has really stood out of the interviews that we've done this season of the athletes on your team is there is a large number of players who want to become coaches. And to me, that is very inspiring. It is a commendable profession because you're really affecting youth of this nation for years to come. I mean, my high school head coach has now passed away, but I still think of him often. So I won't mention that his relative was the head coach at Howard Payne. Anyway, what are your life plans? I mean, besides coaching, you plan on having a family, living locally, or you're going to move back home, or
That's something
wherever
to
the
figure
job
out
brings you.
Yes, sir. Be prepared to figure out my way through being a young coach, and I know some people you have to travel around a lot being a young coach and find your right fit and get your career started that way. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well, what do you think about Hardin-Simmons, the upcoming game, what you've seen?
They're a very good team, but they're very beatable also. So we're going to get in the film room and on the field this week and, come up with a game plan and get after it and get ready
I guarantee you a lot of people didn't think that game on Saturday against Howard Payne would be as close as it was.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck on Saturday. We'll see you
very much.
there.
Appreciate
and we'll
it.
be right back on SU Football Weekly,
Thank y'all.
presented by the SHERATON Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Stay tuned. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center. Joining me now, Gianni Taisugui. I'm going to get it right before the end of the year.
It's all good.
It's the first syllable.
Yes,
Taisugui.
Yes, sir.
Taisugui. Okay. So your team has got a great group of running backs, which you're a part of. Give us your thoughts on the group and your role within it, because there's a lot of good players,
Yes, sir.
and it's just really one position, and so it has to get spread around a little bit.
Our running back core is a great group of people. We got anywhere from old people like BJ, sorry BJ, and you got young people like Quan and everything in between, and we're all dedicated to being a very intricate part of the offense, whether it be pass blocking, run blocking, leading for Landry, or getting the ball ourselves. Coach Hallett is our running back coach, and he tells us that we're the tip of the spear of the offense, and that we drive the way and lead the path for our offense to keep driving down the field and go punch it in the end zone. And we take that as a very serious thing.
Well, and it should be. Obviously, most offenses really, a lot of teams like to spread it out and throw it. But if you can't run the ball, you can't throw the ball.
Yes, sir. That's very true.
So when you think of yourself, you may get different feedback from coaches or whatever, but what do you consider are your strengths as a running back?
I think my biggest strengths are probably just open field mismatches when I have the ball in space. And, I have a lot of weaknesses, too. Don't get me wrong. So
Well, everybody's got
Yes, sir.
room to improve.
But
so.
I think, my speed is probably one of my biggest assets.
Well, I've noticed that you block pretty well as if it's a pass play, or as you mentioned, a lead where it appears like it may be an option, but you're really lead blocking for Gilpin or Gomez or whoever's in there. Talk about that role as a blocker.
I think that's actually one of my biggest weaknesses that I can improve on, and I try and work on it as much as I can throughout practice, throughout the week, throughout the season. But I'm always down to go hit somebody for my quarterback to go score, or so to make sure he doesn't get sacked. And so I do what I have to do to make sure the offense keeps it rolling.
Well, most of the guys that you have to block are big guys.
Yeah, and I think in one of your announcements you said that I have a small frame, which is very true. I'm not the biggest guy, obviously, but yeah, that's why we have different types of blocks. Cut blocking, is a big thing, obviously, for me to get them off their feet.
Well, and one of the things I've noticed through the season as well is you're pretty good at catching the football out of the backfield and even running some routes along the sidelines. Talk about your role there.
That's just a big shout out to Coach Hallett and Coach Bishop. Coach Hallett always has us do pass catching drills, and then Coach Bishop always helps me whether I'm running a route, on telling me whether I need to get wider, I need to do a sharper cut, and all that. And I just take in all those notes. I try and be as coachable as possible.
Well, they probably love that. So how important is it for you and your teammates to be prepared each week, and how does the game plan change from week to week?
Oh man, that's a good question. So we have an acronym called BUCKS. It's basically our virtues, and the C in BUCKS stands for consistency. And I think that's the biggest thing for us every week, regardless of who we're playing, how deep into the season we are. Consistency is a big thing for us, especially on offense, because we have the capability to make big plays, but then we have the negative plays, like Coach Austin said, and it sometimes kills momentum. So if we're able to stay consistent and just keep racking up the big plays, we'll be great.
Now, we talked to Peyton a little bit about life as a student athlete here at SU. Talk about your experience as a student athlete here at Southwestern.
It's been an experience.
Good,
School,
bad, just
it's
experience?
Tedious, I think would be the biggest word, but the S in Bucks is for sacrifice. I don't know if to bring it up, but it's tedious. We're all committed to the grind, and like Luda said, we're student athletes, which means we're student first, and I think the football aspect of it keeps us all in check. It keeps us grounded so that we know that we have to get our schoolwork done before we can go play.
Well, a lot of people say, oh, he's lucky or she's lucky because they're successful, but it's not luck, is it?
No, sir, that's dedication.
Right, hard work. And if you don't put in the time, you're not going to get the results.
Yes,
sir. Talk a little bit about your major.
I am a kinesiology major, and I minor in business. I love athletics. I love just moving around in general. And so I plan on, in the future, probably having my own gym and, coaching up athletes, different types of athletes, whether it be, football, softball, volleyball, basketball, all that. And just want to, help people become greater versions of themselves.
So kind of life coach, individual coach for
a little bit of both.
For fitness?
Yes, sir.
That's an interesting choice. And are you planning on doing that for life?
I mean, everyone gets a little old every now and eventually. So that's why I have a minor in business, so that I can, keep my options open if anything doesn't work out.
So are you thinking graduate school or anything like that?
It's a possibility. I'm honestly just kind of going with the wind. I'm only a sophomore, so I do have a couple years left here.
It comes up fast.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to Luda about that,
Yeah,
actually. Yes, sir.
It does.
But I'm just keeping my options open and being ready for anything that does come my way.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming out,
Yes,
Gianni.
sir, I appreciate
and
you.
we will be right back here on SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Georgetown and Hotel Conference Center. Welcome back to SU Football Weekly, presented by the Sheraton Austin Hotel and Conference Center. Coach, let's talk about Hardin Simmons. It doesn't get any easier this week. Hardin Simmons, the number 8 team in the country. They have explosive offense, a defense that's pitched 3 shutouts this season. Let's start with that defense. What can we do offensively to attack the Cowboys?
Got any ideas?
I do, but
They're very good, yeah. 3 shutouts, and again, to be shutting out teams in our league is
that's good.
really good. The thing that's challenging about them is they play 2 different defenses, totally different styles. In 1 week they'll play this defense, then the next week they'll play their other defense. And so we have to go through this week and prepare for 2 entirely different defensive systems. And we're probably only going to see one of them on Saturday, but you don't know which one it is. And they don't always pick the one that you'd expect them to pick. Like in their game against Mary Hardin Baylor, I would have expected them to pick the style that they didn't pick. So we'll see. We'll prepare our guys for both systems. But that's the challenge, is that you can't just say, when we go out there, they're going to be standing right here. Some weeks, right where they're going to stand. And so that will be the challenge. So we have to do our plays well. We don't come up with an entire playbook every week. We have an offensive system that we run. And so we'll have to just continue to get better at those things. And as we've talked about, we'll have to not have negative plays and not go backwards to have a chance to be successful.
Do they have the shutouts in one of the 2 styles of defense, or
No, they've had shutouts in both.
in both? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that doesn't help. So the Pirate defense has really come on over the last couple of games, giving us a chance to win late, which is important in this league. I mean, you just want to have an opportunity at the end of the game to give yourself a chance to win, in my opinion. So do you expect the defense to continue to play at this high level and be able to try to throttle their offense some?
Yeah, I do. They're another really talented offense. They're fairly similar to Howard Payne in that they'll use a lot of H-back and tight end formations, and not a lot of 4 and 5 wide receivers. They just want to get their 3 receivers out in space and then throw the ball deep and do a lot of isolation. So hopefully we'll be able to build upon things we did last week and find some different ways to tweak that. The great thing about being a little bit more experienced on defense is, again, we don't just draw up a whole new thing every week. We've got a little bit more flexibility with the experience of our guys on defense to be a little bit more multiple from week to week. Whereas on offense, we're still trying to master our base playbook that we started the season with. So not as many adjustments from week to week, but we're getting honed in, I think, on a style of play on defense that we really like. And so I don't know that a whole lot of adjustments will be necessary, but I know that we have the flexibility to do that if we think we need to do that.
Well, it is homecoming for Hardin Simmons this weekend, so there's probably going to be a pretty good-sized crowd there.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I know you mentioned earlier that you don't notice the crowd because
they'll be in front of me this week
because
we're
right.
on the home side, so I'll actually see what's going on.
So does the crowd noise affect play calling, or do you signal the plays in if you have to, or are you able to?
No, we're not really playing on any closed-in 80,000-seat stadium, so we're able to communicate, I think, pretty well. Our stadium actually, though, is one of the louder ones because our field is sunk down in, and the bleachers on both sides are so big that it does hold sound. So really we've had more problems communicating at our home games than we have at away games. And I guess that's a good thing that our fans are talking.
Right. Cheering.
I heard Pat McAfee say, for example, when Peyton Manning was playing football in Indianapolis, he did this and babies in houses stopped crying. And so
he did that a lot too. Every time they had the
I don't know
ball.
that our folks are quite that trained, but it's a good problem to have. It means we're doing something exciting if our offense is having trouble communicating.
For sure. Now, wouldn't it be great to spoil their celebration on Saturday?
That would be awesome, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about common opponents and what can be learned from that. I've asked you this before.
Unless I like my answer if you're asking me again.
Well, I look at common opponents and I think, okay, this team beat that team, we beat that team, then we could probably play with them. And maybe I'm wrong, and as a coach you might have more insight to that. And I'll just use Belhaven as the example. Both teams beat Belhaven just by a handful of points, 5-6 points. So can you glean anything from those common opponents?
We have all their games, so we've watched every single one of them. And I think Hardin Simmons, their offense has really gotten better throughout the season. They had a smaller margin of victory against Sul Ross than I think people expected. When you watch the film, they didn't play great. Belhaven does a really good job on defense.
That's
but
a
I
good
don't think
football team.
Yeah, they're a good football team. I don't think Hardin-Simmons played as well as they're playing now. They smashed and shut out ETBU last week, and it was like
That was a
hot
little
knife through butter.
surprising.
They demolished them. So when you watch like their second or third game and you watch their sixth game, you can really see their offense starting to come along. But their defense has been there all year. Their defense has been consistent throughout.
Well, what are your final thoughts? What do you want to tell the fan base as we head into Hardin-Simmons this weekend?
Well, I think our guys are excited. It was a hard game on Saturday. I mean, there were a lot of tears in the locker room, and some of them may have been mine. I'm not saying. But I think our guys overall were able to see the encouragement of that. I mean, we almost beat the top 20 team with the best offense. I think our guys can see that things are really going in a great direction. So my challenge to them is to make sure they have a championship approach to football, that they're doing the things they need to do on a real consistent basis, because then we can keep this thing moving forward. So I think we can give Hardin-Simmons another really good game, and I think we're pretty fun to watch. I mean, every game is really close. We play a lot of what I would say NFL-style games where it comes right down to the end, and that's a good team to be a fan of when it's interesting.
I think I've got a few gray hairs from this season and those games down the wire. But I want to wish you luck for this weekend, Coach, and thank you again for being here tonight. Remember, we'll be back next week on Monday for SU Football Weekly. We changed from Wednesday to Monday. I want to shout out our sponsors. They are Antioch Georgetown, Chapel Realty Group with Roger Chapel, Chick-fil-A, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, CJ's Catering, Hewlett Chevrolet Buick Volkswagen, Double Dave's Pizza, Eagles Wings Home Services, First Texas Bank, Gary Brown CPA, Georgetown Commercial Properties, Georgetown Shirt Company, Georgetown Title, Groove Line Productions, HEB, Hello Georgetown, John F. Lewis CPA, Mighty Fine, Minutemen Press, Waterboy Graphics, Primerica Financial Solutions with Derek McGill, Rawson Champion CPA, Rudy's, St. David's Georgetown Hospital, Schlotsky's, of course, the Sheraton Austin Georgetown Hotel and Conference Center, Stephanie Featherstone with State Farm, Upstream Investment Partners with Scott Olson, Whataburger, and Wolf Ranch. That's a mighty list of sponsors, Coach. And, I just want to say the community has really come around this program, and I think you're building something special here, Coach.
Thank you.
Tune in next week, and also tune in Saturday for the game between Southwestern and Hardin-Simmons. Thank you for listening to SU Football Weekly. We'll see you next time.
Hi, Mom.